Syrians have a secret dish that is so good, it's literally called he burnt his fingers. Legend has it a man found his wife cooking this and he couldn't wait to try it, that he dug in with his bare hands and burned them. Lentils, pasta and tangy seasonings come together into an amazing meal that truly lives up to its namesake. I'm Obi and today we're going to be making Harak Osbao, a tangy vegan meal that is perfect for meat-free days. It's topped with crispy fried onions and bread for the ultimate texture. So now let's get started. So this dish is a Syrian comfort food that's usually eaten for lunch. I'd describe this as being the tangy cousin of Egyptian Koshari since they share many of the same elements. Once cooked, it's left to cool, then it's topped with a bunch of amazing toppings. The first of which are fried Pitta croutons. They add loads of crunchy goodness to your meals and they go great on all sorts of salads and dishes. Feel free to make a large batch of these and keep them aside for later. Take 2 thin pita breads like these ones and using a knife or scissors cut them into small pieces about this big. Pour some oil into a pot over high heat and while it's heating, place some paper towels on a plate and set it aside. When the oil is heated, add in the cut pieces of bread and in less than 30 seconds they'll turn this golden colour. Once they do, pull the bread out right away, otherwise it will burn. Evenly spread the croutons over the plate, then sprinkle on a little bit of salt. There's also a healthier baked version of these croutons, so I'll leave a link to a video where I've made them in the description box below. Next up is the fried onions. These impart a load of flavour to the dish and they're also a great textural element. To make them, peel and halve 4 onions, then slice off the smallest amount of the root so that the onion is still held together. I'm going to be using a mandolin to slice these as it gives an even thickness on all slices. You can even use a knife to slice these as thin as possible, but if you want uniformly thin strips like this, then check out the link in the description box so you can get yourself a mandolin and support the channel. Place your sliced onions in a pot with the heat turned off, then pour in enough olive oil to almost fully submerge the onions. As the onions cook, they'll season the oil with onion flavour and we'll reuse this later on. Turn the heat up to high and the onions will start wilting and shrinking in size. This will take about 8 to 15 minutes to fry, during which you should stir the pot often to make sure the onions don't stick. While they're cooking, take an oven tray or plate and line it with plenty of kitchen towels. When the onions have developed a little colour like this, watch them closely, then pull them out as soon as they turn a light golden colour. Drain them from the oil and they'll continue to darken as you place them on the tray. Using a couple of forks, spread the clusters of fried onion all over the kitchen towels and then give them a sprinkle of salt. These need to cool and dry completely, and I'd recommend changing the towels after 10 minutes to keep them crispy. Once the oil has cooled down, place a strainer over a jug or bowl and pour the oil through it to filter out any bits. This is your onion oil, and it's a great way to add onion flavour to salad dressings or other dishes. The final bit of prep is to make some tamarind concentrate. Tamarind is a Tangang approved fruit that has a tangy and sour flavour, and this tamarind block is the partially dehydrated pulp. To turn this into a liquid, take 200 grams of a tamarind block and break it up into smaller pieces. Now pour over 1 litre of boiling water and let this sit for about 30 to 40 minutes. The boiling water will soften the tamarind, and when the time is up, use a potato masher to crush and squeeze the tamarind pulp. Once you've done that, pour the liquid through a strainer and you should be able to separate all the tamarind concentrate from the seeds. Make sure you use a medium sieve rather than fine mesh so you can let all the tamarind paste through. With all that prep out of the way, we can make the rest of the dish. You'll need 250 grams of green or brown lentils. These varieties have a soft but held together texture when cooked, which is exactly what we want for the dish. Take the same pot you fried the onions in, then pour in 1 litre of water. Allow that to come to a boil and deglaze the pot while you thoroughly wash the lentils. Once washed, add them into the pot, then place a lid on top and turn the heat to medium. Now set a timer for 25 minutes while we pre-cook the pasta. The traditional recipe for this dish uses a homemade pasta which is cut into squares like this. In their place we're going to be using the small pasta shape, and you can use whatever small pasta you like. Because we're using dried pasta, we need to part cook it and remove the excess starch. To do that, pour your pasta into a pot of boiling salty water and let it cook for half its cooking time. My packet said 9 minutes, so I cooked this for 4, then I poured it into a strainer and washed the pasta with cold water. This removes the excess starch, which if you don't remove will cause the pasta to clump up like this. When the lentils are done cooking, they'll have this soft texture throughout, but importantly the lentils are still held together with their skins. Now take the par-cooked pasta and pour that into the pot with the lentils. Follow that up with 2.5 teaspoons of salt, 3/4 teaspoon of black pepper and 100 grams of pomegranate molasses. Follow that up with all of the tamarind liquid and then a handful of the fried onions. Now add in 1/3 cup of the onion oil from earlier and give the whole pot a mix. If you can still see the lentils and pasta through the liquid, pour in some more water until it looks like this. Now turn the heat to high and bring the pot to a rolling boil, then cover it with a tight-fitting lid. Cook this for about 10 minutes further while stirring the pot occasionally until it reaches the soupy pasta consistency. Finally, you'll add in a garlic and herb mixture which you want to make right before the pasta is finished. To make it, take 1 whole head of garlic or about 12 cloves and mince them so you have 3 tablespoons of minced garlic. In a pan, add 1/3 cup of the onion olive oil, then add the garlic on high heat and fry it for about 30 seconds. Now you'll add in 150 grams of coriander, and I stripped these leaves from their stalks and gave them a rough chop. Cook this for another 30 seconds, then pour the entire thing into the pot and give it a thorough mix. When you're done, the pot will be filled with this amazingly fragrant mixture, and now you have to sit through the challenge of not burning yourself. This dish is actually served room temperature or cold, so I poured mine out into this rectangular serving dish, then I used a wooden spatula to spread it out. Let this cool for about 30 minutes, and when it does, the top layer will have firmed up like this one. I know it looks dry, but the inside of the dish is still perfectly moist. Now you can lay on all of the toppings in whatever fashion you want. I went with alternating lines of the fried bread, pomegranate seeds, crispy onions, and a row of coriander leaves. Feel free to decorate this in any fashion and serve more of each topping on the side. I dished myself a bowl, and as you can see, it's still really moist. Then I topped it with more of the crispy toppings. Now, let's check out the taste test. Let's get a bit of everything on that fork. Oh my god. Oh, that is so good. Man, that is such a satisfying bite. The similarities between this and Egyptian koshari are insane, but the flavour here has an amazing tangy profile that is so delicious. The crunchy onions and bread give it great textural contrast and really make the dish shine. Overall, I'd say this is a Tangang top 5 dish and something worth burning your hands for. Thank you for watching, and a special thanks to our patrons for supporting the channel, and I'll see you all in the next video.